Your name, sir?
Nathan Rappin.
I think, where's Ayers?
What was your last name, sir?
Donald Ayers.
Rappin.
Oh, sorry.
Your Honor, can we reset for tomorrow? There's an offer to resolve the case.
All right, reset Ayers for tomorrow. All right, Mr. Rappin. All right, Mr. Rappin, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of resisting an officer without violence and battery. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Bond's going to be set on the resisting at 500, or I'll reduce that to 100, battery 500. And you're not to return to 3410 Overland Road, and you're not to have any contact with Nathan? Sean Couch. So no contact with the Couch, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. Appoint a public defender to represent you.
Your Honor, I'm not from here. And I have a vehicle out there. Is there any way I could be ROR'd or released to the supervision of probation?
No, you don't qualify. Yeah, that's the victim, the alleged victim, Sean Couch. Your name, ma'am?
Monica Reed.
I get the pen.
All right, Ms. Reed, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of trespass and a conveyance.
Mhm.
I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause.
Your Honor, the offer from the state was an adjudication of guilt, credit, time served, no return to 1602 Cassingham. And Ms. Reed would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
Is that
I
correct,
apologize.
Is that right, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
All right, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
Yes, sir.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
No, sir.
All right, yeah, there's a plea form there the assistant public defender has. You understood the rights and you're signing it, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You have any questions about the rights on that form?
No, sir.
You understand that this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen.
Yes, sir.
All right, do find sufficient factual basis, I'll judge you guilty since time served. The court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution total at $273, and I'll give you 12 months to pay that. And I'm going to order that you not return for a period of 1 year to 1602 Cassingham. If you do go there and the court's made aware that you are subject to contempt citation. To be released as to this case.
Thank you, sir.
Your name, sir?
Tyrone Simpson.
All right, Mr. Simpson, you're here today for a number of things. First of all, you were arrested on the charges of possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of cannabis less than 20 grams, resisting an officer without violence, and providing false information to a law enforcement officer or a false ID. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause on those charges. A bond is set currently and will be stayed at $500 on the paraphernalia. 100, I'm gonna reduce the bond on the cannabis to $100, $500 on the resisting without violence, and $500 on the false information. I will appoint a public defender to represent you. And apparently there is a hold on you for Seminole County for a violation of probation. All righty,
You standing at no bond?
yeah.
Are you appointing a public defender on Ottawa County case?
Yes, temporarily it's appointed public defender on the Seminole County case as well. Your name, sir?
Victoria Collins.
Hi, Mr. Collins, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of camping. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find there's sufficient probable cause.
And there is an offer, but he just had a question.
And what about on both? What about on the soliciting too?
So, Your Honor, on the new law, the offer from the state was a withhold of adjudication, credit time served. And on the out on bond 2022 MO 721AO, I believe the city offered an adjudication, credit time served on that case as well, Your Honor. sir.
Court cost $10 filing reimbursement?
Yes,
Yeah.
All right, Mr.
They're
Collins.
both adjudication, credit time served.
that's fine, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so Mr. Collins, if you want to resolve both of these to time served, it's be court costs on both, and I'll give you some time to pay that. Is that what you wish to do?
Sir.
Enter a plea of no contest to the camping and to the solicitation without permit. Is that what you want to do? Yes? Okay, go ahead and sign that.
First line, so both will go away.
All right, sir, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
Sir.
You gotta speak loud, he can't hear you.
No, sir.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past? This plea form, you understood your rights and signed on the bottom. Do you have any questions for me on those rights?
No, sir.
You understand that both of these are punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen?
Yes, sir.
You understand? All right. I do find sufficient factual basis as to 2022 MO 878AO. I will judge you guilty of the camping. Sentence to time served, I'll impose court costs and a $50 cost of prosecution. That's a total of $273, and I'll give you 18 months to get that paid off. As to 2022 MM 721AO, the solicitation, I will judge you guilty of that. Sentence to time served. Court costs $10 filing reimbursement and 18 months to pay that as well. You'll be released as to these cases.
Adjudication, state,
Your Honor, do you know the credit time served on the out on bond?
please, look,
Thank you.
Two.
we're not gonna withhold. To adjudication. If you wanna take it back, we can, if it's here.
All right, sir, thank you.
Your Honor, Alicia Smalls is mental health.
All right, do you have an offer on her? You want me to bring her back tomorrow?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's try bring back Ms. Smalls tomorrow from mental health.
Annette Woods is also mental health.
Same thing?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so bring him back. Your name, sir? Yes.
Irvin Azor.
Mr. Rosario, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of driving while license, for failing to appear on a driving while license suspended. Bond is set at, I was going to reduce that. 7,500. Wayne Miller has set some bonds on these cases.
Your Honor, the offer to resolve the driving while license suspended is a withholds credit time served. Mr. Azor would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
All right, Mr. Azor, is that correct? You want to resolve your case?
Oh, yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
I do have bipolar disorder that is treated in medication.
Take medication for that?
Yes.
All right, you understand what's going on here today? You understand what's happening here today?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right. Now, you read this plea form, understood the rights, and signed it on the bottom? Any question about the rights on the form?
No, sir.
You understand this is punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea would result in deportation if you're not a citizen.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Let's understand that driving while suspended does enhance. And by that, I mean the next time you get a driving while suspended, it could be a first-degree misdemeanor. And then if you get 3 driving while suspended convictions within a 5-year period, that would result in you being found to be an habitual traffic offender, and your privileges would be suspended for a period of 5 years. You do understand that?
I understand.
This is only your first strike, I just looked at your driving record. It's not terrible. You can get that fixed up. Just go to the clerk's office first here and find out what you owe and get started on that, okay?
Paid them all off. I've
All right.
already paid all of them.
You'll be released as to this case. Good luck.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you.
Yeah. Was an adjudication, right?
It's a
Withhold.
Oh, it was
withhold.
a withhold, I'm sorry. That's good, that we don't have to print. Your name?
Angelica Hunter Washington.
All right, ma'am, you're here for 2 matters. First of all, state of Florida, you were arrested on charge of no valid driver's license. I've read the charging affidavit, do find sufficient probable cause. And the second case is a no registration. So you're arrested on that, I do find sufficient probable cause.
And Your Honor, the offer from the state is an adjudication of guilt, credit, time served, and court costs. Ms. Hunter Washington would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
Is that on both?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, is that correct, Ms. Hunter Washington? You want to enter a plea of no contest to both of those charges and resolve them today?
Correct.
All right, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
Yes.
Do you take medication for that?
No.
Do you understand what is going on here today?
Yes.
All right, and you read over your plea form, understood the rights, and signed it on the bottom?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
All right, you understand that both of these are punishable by up to 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your pleas would result in deportation if you're not a citizen.
Yes.
All right, I do find sufficient factual basis as to 2022 CT 4316AO, no registration. I will adjudge you guilty, be sentenced to time served, court costs, and a $50 cost of prosecution. That's a total of $306. As to 2022 CT 4315, I believe, AO, I will judge you guilty of the charge of no valid driver's license, impose court costs, a $50 cost of prosecution, and be sentenced to time served. That's also $306. I'll give you 18 months to get the total of those two paid. You're going to pay them all the time, a little bit at a time, whatever you want to do, as long as it's done in 18 months. Okay?
Okay.
And also indicate that she's not required to show a valid registration, so they won't keep auditing that file. You'll be released as to these cases.
Okay. Thank you. Juan Reynoso, mental health.
All right, I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. I'm in the wrong one. Hang on just a second. As to the DUI charge, onset in the amount of, I believe it's $500. Yeah, on the DUI, $500. On the no valid driver's license, $500. No drugs, no alcohol, no guns, no weapons, and not to operate a motor vehicle without a valid Florida driver's license.
Mental health judge?
Yep,
And you're appointing a public defender?
and I'll appoint a public defender. Your name, sir?
Right there.
Last name?
Baerga.
Where's that guy? There he is. Okay. All right, sir, you're here on a number of charges. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause as follows. In armed burglary of a structure with the firearm, possession of firearm and commission of a felony, possession of firearm and commission of a felony, possession of firearm and commission of a felony, criminal mischief, and grand theft third degree. And as to the armed burglary of a structure with a firearm, bond will be set in the amount of $10,000. Possession of firearm and commission of a felony, $5,000. Possession of firearm and commission of a felony, $5,000. Possession of firearm and commission of a felony, $5,000. Criminal mischief, $250, and the grand theft, $500. Appoint a public defender to represent you. No, and you're not to return to 1710 North Goldenrod Road. If you do bond out, also you're not to have any contact with any of your co-defendants.
Your Honor, again, for the record, count one is a first-degree felony punishable by life.
Thank you. And appoint a public defender to represent you. All right, Mr. Farley, I do find that there was sufficient probable cause set bond in the amount of $1,000 on the possession of fentanyl. In 2022 CF 8020 is out on bond, revoked that bond, no bond. And in 2022 CF 5842 AO defends out on bond, revoked that bond, no bond. Appoint a public defender for the new case. In Mr. Fernando's case, you find sufficient probable cause as to the robbery charge, set bond, robbery, sudden snatching, set bond in the $1,000, appoint a public defender.
No contact, Your Honor?
Yeah, no contact with.
Willie Williams Jr.
Yes. No, it's a victim. And no return to 8580 East Colonial Drive, Tough Shed. Your name, sir?
Lawrence.
All right, Mr. Florence, you're here because you're arrested on several charges. Resisting an officer without violence, grand theft third degree of motor vehicle, no valid driver's license, fleeing, attempting to elude an officer. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. As to the resisting an officer without violence, I would lower that bond to $100. Grand theft third degree motor vehicle, will be stayed at $1,000. No valid is also $500. And the fleeing, attempting to elude would be set at $2,500. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. You're not to operate a motor vehicle without a valid Florida driver's license as a condition of your bond. Thank you. Your name, sir?
Michael Vincent Galasso.
All right, Mr. Galasso, you're here today because you're arrested on 4 charges, 3 charges?
2 charges, yeah.
2 charges, excuse me, burglary of a structure and burglary of a structure, 2 counts. I have read the charging affidavit and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. The bond is set at $3,500 on both, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you.
Sir, may I ask if I can have any kind of bond reduction, sir? I'm able to bond out if possible, but I'm asking for,
Yeah, not at this point, but certainly your attorney can file a bond motion with the trial court judge.
No return, Your Honor?
No return, yes, to, is that 1650 North Mills?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, yeah.
Ms. Johns, she refused.
All right, I do find probable cause in her case, possession of fentanyl, $1,000 bond, and the possession of paraphernalia, $100 bond. Appoint a public defender to represent her. Your name, sir?
Angel Lopez.
Okay, Mr. Lopez, you're here today because you're arrested on 3 charges. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause for the following. Possession of cannabis within 1,000 feet of a convenience store or business with intent to sell. That bond is $15,000. Possession of cocaine with intent to purchase. The corrected amount was 15. I will set that at 5. And possession of drug paraphernalia, $100. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
I apologize, Your Honor. With regard to count 2, you're raising that to $500?
On count 2, the corrected amount was supposed to be 15,000.
Oh,
There's a notice filed, and so I reduced it to 5,000.
oh,
So,
5,000.
yeah, it says 150 on there, but if you look, there was a correction form
Okay.
that got filed, I think, yeah. And it should have been 15, according to them, so I'll make it 5 and appoint a public defender. Your name, sir?
Luma?
All right, Mr. Lumo, you're here today because you're arrested on 3 charges, burglary of structure, criminal mischief, and resisting officer without violence. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. Bond the amount of $3,500 on the burglary of structure, $100 on the criminal mischief, and $100 on the resisting without violence. And I will appoint a public defender to represent you. You're not to return, if you do bond out, to 1025 South Orange Blossom Trail.
Count 2 to 100.
Yes.
Warren, Guerrero, Martinez, he refused.
Okay, Rita Martinez. Where is it? Oh, there he is, okay. All appoint a public defender to represent him. And do find probable causes to count one, possession of fentanyl, $1,000 bond. Count two, destruction of evidence, $1,000 bond. Possession of drug paraphernalia lower to 100, drug paraphernalia 100, and resisting without violence 100. And where was this? Yeah, no return to 2625 North Hiawassee Road. Your name, sir? Your name?
John Reyes.
All right, Mr. Reyes, you're here today because you're arrested on several charges. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find probable cause as follows. Find probable cause for the charge of armed burglary of a structure with a firearm, possession of firearm in a commission of a felony, 3 counts of that, criminal mischief, and grand theft. I'll set bond the amount of, I think I did 10,000 before on that first one, 10,000 on the armed burglary, 5,000 on the possession of firearm, commission of a felon, on all 3 counts, 5,000 on each count, and criminal mischief, 250 and 500 for the grand theft. And I will appoint a public defender to represent you.
Your Honor?
Yep.
The conditions?
No return to
Fine, or you're gonna have
1710 North Goldenrod Road, no contact with the co-defendants, and no contact with the witnesses. Jason Ardilla, Ardila, no contact.
And no return, Your Honor?
Yeah, no return, yeah. 1710 North Goldenrod.
You just be quiet right now. Speak to your attorney. Yeah, but you can. Okay, so let's do it. Don't say anything, just go.
Your name, sir?
Kenneth Rodriguez, Your Honor.
All right, sir. Mr. Rodriguez, you were here because you were arrested on several charges. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause for armed burglary of a structure with a firearm, possession of firearm, and commission of a felony, 3 counts, criminal mischief, and grand theft. Set bonds as follows. In the armed burglary of a structure, I'll set bond the amount of $10,000. In the possession of firearm and commission of a felony, all 3 counts will be a $5,000 bond. And then the criminal mischief, $250, and the grand theft, $500, and I will appoint a public defender. You're not to have any contact with any of your co-defendants. You're not to have any contact with the witness in the case. And I had his name, and I don't have it anymore. Same witnesses in the last case, if we could look at that. And then you're not to return to 1710 North Goldenrod Road, the condition of bond. And again, a public defender is appointed. Your name, sir?
Jonathan Rosario.
Mr. Rosario, you are here today because you were arrested also on several charges. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause as follows. In the armed burglary of a structure with a firearm, 3 counts of possession of firearm and commission of a felony, a criminal mischief, and a grand theft 3rd degree. I'll set bonds as follows. In the armed burglary would be $10,000. Possession of firearm and commission of a felony, all 3 of those counts will carry a $5,000 bond. There'll be a criminal mischief $250 bond, and the grand theft $500 bond. You're not to have any contact with your co-defendants. You're not to have any contact with the witness in the case, Jason Ardilla, and you're not to return to 1710 North Goldenrod Road while on bond, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Your name, sir?
Teal.
Teal, you're here today because, oh man, we're almost done. Just a second. Computer.
Any way we can resolve this matter today, sir? I got plenty of that days up on it. I was held in Duval County. That's the only reason I couldn't make it to court, because I was
Okay,
released without.
just a second. My computer's crashed. I gotta get it to work again. Well, that'll probably be easier. All right, Mr. Teal, you're here today because you failed to appear on a possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and this on a warrant was issued against for your arrest. There's no bond on that, and I'll appoint a public defender if you don't have one previously. Paperwork to finish. your name, sir?
Irvin Triplett.
Mr. Triplett, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of grand theft, third-degree motor vehicle. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient sufficient probable cause and bond set amount of $1,000. I will appoint a public defender. And, that's you. You live at the 4325 South Texas, right? Yeah, that vehicle's gone. That's fine. I'll appoint a public defender for you. Yeah, no, they towed the car. In 2022, it was just a failure to appear. 2022 CF 1838. For failing to appear was bond was set at nothing, at 0. (2022) MM 1391 AO.
I have an MM.
They failed to appear in a petty theft, bond set at 0. And last but not least, 2022 MM 1936 AO. Failure to appear on another petty theft, also 0 bond.
Your Honor, did you have 22 CF 1391 for Shane Ultimo?
Yes, that was the first one.
Oh, okay.
No bond, right? Is that what you have? No bond?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okey dokey. Kathy will be very happy. I can actually get something to eat and be there before 2 o'clock. Come here. No? Somebody here for there?
Your Honor, the interpreter can confirm this defendant is able to hear through the headset.
All right, we may have to go, yeah, we're gonna have to go through the speaker. As it turns out, the alleged victim also needs interpretation, so,
No problem, Your Honor.
all right, we've got it off. All right, your name, ma'am?
¿Su nombre, señora?
Sol Pirela.
I need to open the door.
Sol Pirela.
Okay, all right, Ms. Pereira, you're here this morning because you were arrested on a charge of domestic violence battery.
Señorita Pirela, usted se encuentra aquí en el día de hoy porque fue arrestado en un cargo de violencia doméstica, agresión
And felony battery, also domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause.
He revisado la affidavit de cargos, determino que existe suficiente indicios razonables.
All right, in the box, raise your right hand, please.
Señora de testigo, por favor, levante su mano derecha.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Usted jura solemnemente o afirma que el testimonio que usted dará en este caso será la verdad, toda la verdad y solamente la verdad ante Dios.
Lo juro.
I swear.
Please state your name for the record.
Por favor, díganos su nombre para que conste en actas, despacio, en voz alta.
Dayana Vélez.
Diana Vélez.
All right, ma'am, you are the alleged victim in the battery, is that correct?
Señora, usted es la presunta víctima en este cargo de agresión, ¿eso es correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, what do you want to tell me?
¿Qué es lo que usted me quisiera decir?
Estoy un poco nerviosa porque no es fácil todo esto.
Well, I'm a little nervous because this isn't easy.
Okay.
Pero ya todo queda en manos del juez. Simplemente quiero es que no contacto, no mensaje, no llamada, porque ya esto se salió de control.
I leave this in the hands of the judge, but all I want is no contact, no calls, no messages, because this has now become out of control.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Gracias.
Ms. Piera, do you have another place to go and stay?
Señorita Pirela, ¿tiene usted otro lugar donde quedarse?
No.
No.
Well, you're not going to be able to return to the Sundown Circle address.
Usted no se le va a permitir que regrese a la dirección que se encuentra en Sundown Circle,
Because you're not going to have, I'm going to order that you not have any contact with the alleged victim.
porque le voy a prohibir el trato con la presunta víctima.
Okay. All right, as to the felony battery, I'll set bond the amount of $1,000, the misdemeanor $500, no gun.
En el cargo, I'm sorry, Your Honor, go ahead.
Go ahead, no, you can go ahead.
En el caso crímenes causa de agresión, la fianza en $1,000. En el cargo de simple agresión, $500.
You'd have no contact with the alleged victim, Diana Velez Martinez.
No se le permitirá el trato en absoluto con la presunta víctima, Diana Vélez Martínez.
To make sure that you have a separate residence from her.
Tiene que mantener una residencia separada.
You're not to return to 5870 Sundown Circle, apartment 1118.
No se le permitirá regresar al 5870 Sundown Circle, apartamento 1118.
However, I will allow you to go there one time with law enforcement, either a deputy or a police officer, so you can pick up your personal items.
Pero sí le voy a permitir que regrese una sola vez acompañado de un agente del orden público, sea un alguacil o agente policial, para que usted pueda recopilar sus pertenencias personales.
All right, and I appoint a public defender to represent you on these two charges.
Le voy a designar las oficinas del defensor público para que las represente usted en estos dos cargos.
Now, we're on a PTD status on a misdemeanor battery.
Usted se encontraba en un programa de desvío, actualmente en un cargo de agresión.
So that's probably going to end, if not sooner rather than later. I'm going to hold you no bond on that.
Y eso va a terminar en corto plazo, mantendrá detenida sin derecho a fianza en este momento debido a ese cargo.
All righty, thank you.
Gracias.
Sorry to interrupt you. I heard you start mentioning no weapons.
Yeah, no guns, no weapons,
Okay.
no drugs, no alcohol. And so-
No se le permitirá portar armas de fuego, armas blancas o ingerir drogas o alcohol.
Ok, una pregunta.
Yeah. All righty, thank
I have
you.
a question.
Okay.
Hoy mismo no
Diga.
hoy pagando la fianza no puedo salir hoy mismo.
So if I pay a bond today, I'm not going to be able to get out today?
That's correct. You can bond on the one case, but the other case, there's no bond on it right now, so you have to contact your attorney about that.
Eso es correcto. En este caso sí tiene fianza, pero en el caso anterior se le ha revocado la fianza. Eso tuviera que tramitarlo con su abogado.
En este momento no tengo abogado, solamente de público.
So at this point in time, I don't have an attorney, just the public defender.
Well, that is an attorney,
Bueno, eso es un abogado.
Ok.
all right?
Okay.
And it'll probably be the same person because they're both in domestic violence, so they'll get working on it for you.
Y será probablemente la misma persona porque ambos son cargos de violencia doméstica. Ellos se lo van a tramitar.
¿La misma abogada?
The same attorney?
Probably, I can't guarantee that. That's up to the public defender's office. They make the assignments.
Probablemente, pero eso no se lo puedo garantizar. Ellos son los que hacen esa determinación.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All righty.
Gracias. Your Honor, if you could go ahead, Judge, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna
Gracias.
give it to you. It is, hold on just a second, 2022 CF 8921AO.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your name?
Hazel Vanessa Gonzalez.
Do you need,
Your Honor, we're using headsets on this one, Judge?
yes, there is no, we'll use headsets. She's about to put it on.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Your Honor.
Sí.
Your Honor, the interpreter can confirm this defendant is able to hear through the headsets.
All right, Ms. Rosado, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. Now, were you living at the Brandon Circle address?
Sí.
Yes?
All right. And do you have another place that you can go and live?
Sí.
Yes.
All right. I will set bond the amount of $500. You're not to return to 10056 Brandon Circle. You can go back there one time with law enforcement, either a deputy or a police officer, to pick up your personal items. But you're to maintain a separate residence from Matthew Sanguine, Sanguine. You also have no contact with Matthew Sanguine. You're not to possess any drugs or alcohol, no guns or weapons. And I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
Gracias.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was 2022 MM 5134AO.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And is that all of the Spanish cases? Yes. All righty. Thank you, sir.
Have a good morning, Your Honor.
You. Good morning, ma'am. Your name?
Natasha Jones.
Ms. Jones, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of burglary of a dwelling with assault or battery and battery domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause. Okay. You don't reside at the 860 North Orange Avenue, correct?
No, sir.
All right, so you wouldn't have to worry about that then. All right, as to the burglary of a dwelling, I set bond amount of $2,500. As to the domestic violence battery, I'll be $500. You're to not to return to 860 North Orange Avenue.
Your Honor,
Yep.
as a victim as well.
Oh, all right.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, to help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Trod Boggs.
All right, sir, and you are the alleged victim in this case.
I am.
What do you want to tell me?
I want to say that I'm not requesting any conditions. I'm fine with contact. I'm fine with everything that is status quo. So just wanted to kind of put that on the record. I'm not requesting anything at this point.
What about, you don't have a problem with her returning to your address?
I don't.
All right, well, you understand, I can't protect you if you,
Understood.
all right, okay. Okay, then what I'll do is, you can have contact. There's no requirement that you not have contact with him. That's up to you. And I will not preclude you from going back to his address. I will say that you can't have any guns or weapons, drugs or alcohol. And it appears you don't qualify for the public defender.
Okay.
Okay, so looks like she's got $1,700 every 2 weeks.
Okay. Can I just speak to her for a second?
Sure.
Your Honor, I would like to place on the record that count one is actually a first-degree felony punishable by life.
Yeah, I understand, but, he's here and he doesn't,
I'm just putting it on the record.
Yeah.
So just pay the bond with the bill. He'll explain that to you.
Thank you, sir. It was 500.
25 and then 500?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, your name, sir?
Patrick Renee.
All right, Mr. Renee, you're here today because you're arrested on 3 charges based upon a arrest warrant issued by, based on probable cause from another judge. Count 1 is robbery, sudden snatching. Count 2, grand theft, 3rd degree. Count 3 is felony battery DV. Let me just go real quick here.
Judge, he did not fill out a PD form.
Okay. So the address, 4409 South Kirkman. Is that where you live?
Yeah, I'm staying at now, but I stay with my brother now, sir.
Okay. So is Nicole Stevens there also?
Yeah, she stayed there.
She's at that address? Okay. And she's not here, so. All right. As to, let me see what she put on that. Hang on, just see. All right, as to count 1 robbery, the bond is 1,000. The count 2 grand theft motor vehicle, I'm gonna reduce that to 1,000. Felony battery would be, the DV would be 1,000. And I'm gonna order that you not return to the address.
Sir.
You gotta get back, yep. And you have no contact with Nicole Stevens. Hold on, I'm in the wrong thing. So you're not to return to the,
Address.
yeah, let me get that address. 4409 South Kirkman, number 301.
Yes, ma'am.
You can go there one time to pick up any belongings. You gotta go with law enforcement.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you don't have anything, then there's no reason for it, but if there is something you think of, you gotta go with either a deputy or with a police officer, but you can pick up your personal items, not TVs or you know, furniture and stuff. And, you're not to have any contact with Nicole Stevens. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, and you didn't fill out a public defender. You don't,
I have an attorney.
okay, you're gonna have a private attorney? Because no one's filed yet, but that's fine. All right, you're all set then.
So he did not need a.
Is that, no attorney, yeah. He's gonna, to get his own, he says. Your name, sir?
Ivan Reyes.
Hi, Mr. Reyes, you're here today because you were arrested on several charges. Aggravated battery, tampering with a witness to hinder communication, and domestic violence battery. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Do you have another address to go to other than 10134 Richardson Court?
I can find another one, but I mean, that's
Okay,
the house that I own.
Jeez, all these people trying to big dog it and they don't realize it's just gonna cause them trouble. Just right, you know. Because that guy's doing good. All right, as to, the aggravated battery, a set bond amount of $2,500, the tampering, $500, and the domestic violence battery, $500. You're not to return to 10134 Richardson Court. You're not to have any contact with, let me see, Renella, I guess it's Reyes also?
Pichardo.
Pichardo, there we go. Renella Pichardo, no guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. You can return to the Richardson Court address one time with accompanied law enforcement to pick up any personal items that you may have there, all right? You do not qualify for a public defender, so I can't appoint one for you. 5,000 every 2 weeks is too much, okay? So you have to hire your own attorney.
Well, that's only for 6 months. That was a sign-up bonus.
What's that?
That was a sign-up bonus at my job. I work on commission and,
What do you make every 2 weeks? What's your paycheck?
well, it's gonna be that for 6 months and then it's commission-based. I don't make money unless I.
Okay, well, at this point in time, that's what it is now, so it's too much, so, all righty? You have to hire somebody. Okay, thank you. Your name, sir? Your name?
D'Angelo Rushing.
Mr. Rushing, you're here today because you're arrested on an ag assault with a deadly weapon, domestic violence, and throwing a deadly missile at or within or into a building. I know by definition, a gunshot is a deadly missile, but they don't usually charge it that way, do they? When someone
I'm
shoots
sorry, Your Honor, I didn't hear you.
Said, I know that a deadly missile, by definition, it would be a gunshot, obviously,
Right.
but they don't usually charge it that way, do they?
I think,
That's usually like a brick or something like that. But I mean, it's okay, it just was interesting to me. All right, you were arrested on aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, with the firearm, domestic violence, and throwing a deadly missile at or within a building. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. And the Castle Oak Avenue address, do you have another place to go other than that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then, because I'm not going to be able to let you go back there. As to the aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, a set bond amount of $5,000. The throwing a deadly missile will be $1,000. And I will order that you not return to 2816 Castle Oak Avenue. You can go back there one time if you need to pick up clothes or personal items, but you need to go with law enforcement. You're not to have any contact with Deja Rushing, DAJIHA Rushing. Any other, did they list any other witnesses? No. Okay. You can, no possessing any guns or weapons, no drugs or alcohol. And he didn't, did he qualify? He did. All right, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you. Yeah, she can ask. Your name, sir? Excuse me? Your name?
Blair.
All right, Mr. Blair, you're here today because you're arrested on charge of domestic violence battery. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's a sufficient probable cause. Yeah? Raise your right hand, please.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name for the record.
Alexis Hicks.
All right, ma'am. You're the alleged victim in the case, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, what did you want to tell me?
That my goal wasn't that he got arrested. I just called the cops so that they can kind of diffuse the situation. So I don't feel like he is causing me harm. I have no problem if we communicate with one another. I have packed my things and left I'm going to be gone for a week. I'm at my mom's.
You guys usually live together or no?
We do.
You do, okay, but you're going to be gone for a little while?
Yes,
Okay. And that's the Rosamond Drive address?
it is.
Do you have a problem with him going back to that address?
I don't.
Okay, and you said you're going to be gone. When you come back, you'll be okay with him being there?
I will be.
Okay. Well, I can order no hostile contact, meaning that he can't raise his voice, can't throw anything, can't throw, be hostile to you in any way. Was that something you'd want?
That would be cool, I guess. I
Okay,
mean, for
all right.
just.
Okay, all right, Mr. Blair, you do qualify for pretrial release, meaning I could give you a release that doesn't require a bond, wouldn't cost you any money. It does require that you'll have to meet with your pretrial release officer. They'll probably drug test you, but there is no, and you have to do that on a regular basis, but there won't be any kind of bond. Otherwise, I'll set a bond. You want a pretrial release or you want a bond?
Set a bond.
Yeah. All right, I'll set a bond amount of $500. No hostile contact with Alexis Hicks. You can't raise your voice to her, can't scream at her, can't throw anything at her, can't do anything like that, okay? I'll allow you to go back to the home. You're not allowed to possess any drugs or alcohol, any guns or weapons, okay?
Sir.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Your name, ma'am?
Christina Javier.
All right, hang on a second, my computer's freezing up. Come on. And it's crashing. All right, ma'am, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. Do you have, let me check real quick. Oh, was at the airport. Okay. Is your husband still, or your fiance still here?
No,
Or did he go ahead and he flew home?
he flew to New York.
Okay, all right. You do qualify for pretrial release. I can do that where you wouldn't have to post a bond, but again, there are conditions you have to meet with your pretrial release officer, and they may require drug testing. Do you want to do that, or you want me to set a bond?
I don't mind you setting a bond, sir.
You don't want a bond, or you do?
I do.
You do. All right, I'll set a bond amount of $500.
Okay, sir.
All right, and I'm gonna order that you not, well, you can return to the airport only if you have a valid ticket to fly out. Okay, so you can't go out and hang out there, all right?
No problem.
Okay? No contact at this point with your fiance. What's his first name? Mitchell. Where's that witness? With Tyquan Mitchell, Ty-Quan Mitchell.
Yes, you're
So
correct.
No contact with him.
Taekwon.
No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. All right?
No problem,
And I will appoint a public defender to represent you. Are you going to be going back to New York?
Yes.
Okay. You need to make sure you let your bondsman know about that. Also, keep in contact with your attorney. They can handle court dates for you so you don't have to come back for everything.
So you're not ordering a separate residence, Your Honor?
We can't, yeah, okay, separate residence, but reality. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Your name, sir?
Chandran Manigo.
All right, sir, you're here today because you're arrested on charge of a violation of pretrial release conditions on domestic violence case. The allegations that you made contact with a Patricia Winningham while you were already out on bond or on pretrial release for a domestic violence case. I have read the charging affidavit, and I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Doesn't? How is that happening today? 26 with one is not enough? What is it, 13 every 2 weeks? With one dependent? That's okay. Okay, I do find sufficient probable cause. As to that charge, a step bond in the amount of $2,500. You're to have no contact with Patricia Whittingham. You're to follow through with the conditions of your pretrial release. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. No return to,
135.
no return to 135 North John Street, which is her address. And I will appoint a public defender on that. You are also out on bond in 2022 CF 4024AO, which is a burglary of a dwelling with an assault, possession of firearm, and aggravated assault. I'm going to revoke that bond. There'll be no bond on that. And I believe you already have a public defender in that case.
Yes. You cannot find out.
Yes, yeah. Your name, sir?
Jose David Salazar Marquez.
All right, sir, you're here today because you were arrested on charge of battery, domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit and do find sufficient probable cause. I know this was, the allegation is your brother, is that right? Was the alleged victim?
Yes, sir.
And I think that looks like they may have filed charges with the state against him as well. Do you have another place to go other than the Britannia Drive address?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. As to this case, I'll set bond the amount of $500. You're not to have return to 5715 Britannia Drive, number 1175, except you can go back there one time with law enforcement, either a deputy or a police officer, so you can get your items, your clothing, or anything you may need to, for day-to-day living. You're not to have any contact with your brother, and that is Jose Leonardo Salazar Marquez. No contact at all with him. And you're to maintain a separate residence, so if you can't live, even if it's at a different address than the one above. No guns, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, and I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
Your Honor, Curtis Vance, bonded.
Okay. Vance bonded, alrighty. And this is Africa James, is that right? All right, Ms. James, you were arrested on a violation of probation in your aggravated battery with a deadly weapon and carrying concealed weapon by a convicted felon, and there is no bond on that. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you on the violation of probation. Man, it's running slow today. And now it's going to crash. Hi, Mr. Rogers, you're here today because you were arrested on a violation of probation warrant from Judge Bigney on your exposure of sexual organs. The bond on that violation is $7,000, and I will appoint a public defender to represent you. Rahman is, do we have to do language line or something? Is that why they put it? Rahman?
Oh, because we have to call.
Yay. Yep, we'll do 33-day motions while we get the language line on. Ramon Luis Velez Perez, 2022 CF 6965 AO.
You can give these to the people. please.
Denied, information was filed.
Michael Angelo Florent, 2022 CF 4624 AO.
Denied, and information was filed.
Anthony Weaver, 2022 CF 6220 AO.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
Donnell Connell Brown, 2022 CF 7593 AO.
Granted, notice of non-filing.
Fred Haywood, 2022 2022 CF 7658AO.
Granted, case was no build.
Okay. All right. Shoot over to
This is
that.
the Bengali interpreter on the line.
All right, good morning, ma'am. Have you been sworn today, ma'am?
Not yet, sir.
All righty.
Do you solemnly swear to translate from Bengali to English, from English to Bengali to the best of your ability?
West Bengali.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right, sir, your name?
Mohammed
আপনার নাম বলুন।
All right. Sir, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of battery domestic violence.
আপনাকে এখানে নিয়ে আসা হয়েছে কারণ আপনি অভিযুক্ত হয়েছেন মারধর করার জন্য এবং ঘরোয়া হিংসা করার জন্য।
আমি সত্য করে বলছি, আমি গেলি গতকাল কিছুই করিনি, আমার ছেলে সামনে ছিল, আমি ঘাস কাটতেছিলাম। আমি এই অপরাধে একবার 2018 পাঁচই এখানে আসছিলাম, সেটা প্রমাণ করতে 2021-এর
Madam,
23 জানুয়ারি আমি
Let her go ahead.
Yes,
Go ahead, ma'am. Go
So
ahead.
that did not happen yesterday. I was just mowing the lawn. My son was in front of me. Nothing happened like that. The same allegation, I had been here in 2018, and something happened on January 23rd, 2021.
No, January 21,
Madam,
I released from the court.
Madam Interpreter, could you please advise the client not to speak about the facts of the case? We're only here for the purposes of setting bond. Everything is being recorded and can be used against him later.
আপনাকে জানানো হচ্ছে এখন মামলার ব্যাপারে আপনি কোনো কথাই বলবেন না। আজকে এখানে শুধুমাত্র হাজির হওয়া হয়েছে বন্ডের ব্যাপারে। সমস্ত কথাবার্তাগুলো কিন্তু রেকর্ড করা হচ্ছে, ভবিষ্যতে আপনার বিরুদ্ধে লাগানো হতে পারে, সুতরাং কোনো কথা বলবেন না আপাতত।
All right, so, sir, you,
আমি কোনো গল্প বলে নেই, আমার কাছে প্রমাণ আছে।
I have the proof.
okay. All right, I will, set bond in the amount of $500.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, is it 1,000,
No, it's
1,500?
500, I'm sorry. I was gonna. Set bond amount of $500. You're not to have any contact with your, wife.
আপনাকে $500 জন্য ধার্য করা হচ্ছে এবং কোনো রকমের যোগাযোগ করবেন না আপনার স্ত্রীর সঙ্গে।
ওকে, আমি মেনে নিলাম।
ওকে।
All right, and that's Fatima, Fatema, Akhtar, Akter. So you're not to have any
Number-
contact whatsoever with her.
তাহলে ফাতেমা আক্তার, তার সঙ্গে আপনি কোনো রকমের কোনো যোগাযোগ করবেন না।
You're to keep a separate residence from her.
না, আমি করি না, আমি
All right, stop.
আমি করি না, করব না।
অপেক্ষা করুন।
Tell him to not talk unless I ask a question, please.
আপনাকে যতক্ষণ না সরাসরি একটা প্রশ্ন করা হচ্ছে আপনি কোনো কথা বলবেন না।
ওকে স্যার,
All right. You're also not to, return to 630 Ascot Circle, where she is staying.
আপনারা আলাদা বাসায় থাকবেন, কোনোভাবেই 630 নম্বর অ্যাসকট লেন যেখানে সে বসবাস করে সেখানে যাবেন না।
You'll need to get a separate residence.
ওকে
অন্য বাসায় আপনাকে থাকতে হবে।
ওকে,
And you're not to possess any guns or weapons or any drugs or alcohol.
নাথিং।
আপনি কোনো রকম বন্দুক, অস্ত্রশস্ত্র, কোনো রকম মদ, কোনো রকম মাদক দ্রব্য ব্যবহার করতে বা রাখতে পারবেন না।
And I will appoint a, public defender so you have an attorney to represent you.
একজন আপনাকে যে বিনামূল্যে উকিলের দিকে উনি লোক নিশা করে দিচ্ছেন যাতে আপনার কোনো উকিল থাকে নিজের।
Okay?
ওকে,
Do you have any questions? While we have an interpreter here, do you have any questions? I'll answer if I can.
দোভাষী আছে, আপনার কি কোনো প্রশ্ন আছে? উনি যদি সম্ভব হয় তো প্রশ্ন থাকলে উত্তর করবেন।
এখন
নাও
Yes. Any questions about what we did this morning?
কোনো প্রশ্ন আপনার এখন আছে কি?
না, আমি তো এখন আমার বাইরে যে লয়ার কাছে যেতে পারবো তো?
No, so I can go to my attorney, right?
Yes, that's what I would suggest. Speak with her and she can answer any other questions.
হ্যাঁ, আপনি যান, তার সাথে কথা বলুন, সে আপনাকে উত্তর দেবে।
Okay, thank you.
থ্যাংক ইউ।
ধন্যবাদ। Anything more I can do for you?
And I think that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a nice day, sir. Bye-bye.
All right, back to the 33s. Ali Syed Abdul Haq.